What's up, everybody? It's Meech on the radar. So we know recently, just maybe a week ago, DMX passed away. Now today we're hearing that Black Rob passed away. If you're a hip hop fan, then you know what these two artists meant to the hip hop community. We grew up on their music and its impact. You know, both of these guys were in their 50s. I believe DMX was 50 and Black Rob was 51. Now, whether you're a hip hop fan or not, this video's for you, so I think you should listen. We have to start looking at things from a realistic standpoint. Like, we love these artists. A lot of people are gonna mourn. People are mourning for DMX. People are mourning for Black Rob. People always mourn when a celebrity or an artist passes away. In this case, we see DMX pass from a drug overdose. Everybody's playing his music. People are emotional. We see Black Rob had different health complications. I believe he had a stroke. He had high blood pressure. I think he was on dialysis. I'm not sure of all the details at the moment. But a lot of people recently saw his just yesterday and the day before. They were seeing the videos of him in the hospital. Then when he came out of the hospital, he was not looking good. Now, what we all need to pay attention to, we see this time and time again. We get all worked up when we see our favorite artists die. We see people around us passing away all the time from health issues. And still, we neglect ourselves. We neglect the truth. So let me get into this a little bit. DMX recently in an interview said that most people know he was, on drugs for most of his life. Even throughout his career, he was on drugs. Before that, during that, it's been a part of a lot of his downfall. What people are not looking at is he suffered a lot of trauma in an early age through his childhood. Part of his story is his mother brought him, I believe, to a group home. And, they was just there, looking at the place, touring or whatever it is. And, she left him there. He had no clue this was going to happen. He didn't know what was going on. She literally took him there. He's not knowing what's happening, and she literally just left him. She abandoned him there. That messed him up psychologically. And along with, a lot of other things that, he went through in his life. One thing also that he said is at a very young age, somebody that he looked up to introduced him to crack. He made him smoke crack without, realizing what was in it. I guess it was laced in some weed, and that introduced him to crack. So all of that trauma, all of that addiction, all of that spiraled throughout his whole career. Success and him chasing his dream that had nothing to do with the drug addiction. A lot of times we don't realize that. People looking from the outside, you see somebody that's successful, they have money, they have all this fame. You say, well, if you have all of this, why do you still do these negative things? It's because people don't realize you can't separate it. You are who you are. You deal with what you deal with. Money and fame and all that has nothing to do with it. Most of us should know that by now. So we've seen this man be brilliant, but we've seen his pitfalls. And now he overdosed, he passes away, everybody mourns him. Now, what people fail to look at in that situation is all of the trauma he dealt with. A lot of us, if not all of us, are dealing with some sort of trauma, and we don't seek the proper help. A lot of the issues that we deal with all across the board is probably related to some sort of trauma that we experienced at some point of our lives, but most of us don't acknowledge it. Most of us may not even be aware of it. Most of us are definitely not dealing with it. Now, in the case of Black Rob, he had different health issues. People say he drank a lot, drugs, all these things. Now, we promote in our society all of these things. It's cool to drink. It's cool to do drugs. It's cool to do this, do that, but we don't promote health. We don't promote the reality of what happens when you're drinking too long. How many people have seen somebody drink themselves to death and ruin their liver and end up on dialysis? How many people have seen them, people just ruin their lives with drinking or drugs or just whatever, reckless behavior? It's not always about drugs and sometimes people's addiction is eating. Sometimes it's just reckless behavior, whether it's the way you drive, just all types of stuff. We see it all the time. Some people watching this video right now is probably exhibiting or has exhibited those same issues, but we're not taking it serious. So we'll look at an artist, we'll look at somebody from the outside and we'll say, oh, that's so tragic. That's this is, you know, it's a shame. But we don't look at ourselves. A lot of us are dealing with these same things. If you remember years ago, Big Pun, the rapper, he died from, I believe, a heart attack. He was severely obese, you know, and if you know his story, a lot of that was also because of trauma that he went through. He was dealing with a lot of pain, a lot of stuff he went through. It made him eat. That was his way of coping. That was his way of escaping. He died young from overeating. His body couldn't handle it. The point is, we don't take these things serious enough in general. So these two artists that just passed away are in their 50s. If you're young, you may not realize it, but that's young. You're not supposed to be dying at 50. Your health isn't supposed to be failing you at 50 years old, okay? I had a friend of mine that had a drug issue, and he got himself fixed, and he was explaining to me about a year ago. And then he brought it up again when DMX passed away. He reiterated the same thing he said to me a year ago. He said, when you're on drugs, the reason why a lot of people overdose is not the actual drug. It's because they have built, all right, let me explain this right. People that use drugs, they end up building up a tolerance for it. When you come off of the drugs and then you relapse and you go back to it, they go back to using the same amount of drugs that they used to use. Now their body is no longer equipped to handle it. That's the reason why a lot of times people overdose. Not every time, but that's a main factor. And I believe in DMX's case, that's what the situation was. I could be wrong. I don't know for a fact, but I know, you know, this is something my friend was explaining to me, and it makes a lot of sense. Overall, we have to take our health more serious. We have to take our long-term health seriously. What I mean by that is when you're young, you feel like you can do certain things and get away with it because you feel like you're going to live forever, or you got time to go through your nonsense and then correct it. A lot of times it doesn't happen. There's a lot of people right now that are all throughout time is people are dying young because they're doing things they shouldn't be doing. Now, a lot of what I do on this channel, I don't even go as deep as I should into a lot of this stuff, but I talk about all the things that we should be focusing on that's actually beneficial. So when you look at somebody like Black Rob, for instance, the first thing people are going to say is, excuse me, he was going through these issues. Where were the people around him that were supposed to help him? The first thing people are going to bring up is, where's Puffy? Why wasn't he stepping in to help? He was his artist. He's the one with all the money. Why didn't he do something? And the thing people, and please don't put this in my comments, because I don't want to hear all that. The thing people don't realize is, as a man, as a woman, as an adult, you are responsible for yourself. You cannot live a reckless behavior. You cannot, you know, destroy yourself. And then when you're in a bad situation, you turn around and you look at everybody like, oh, who's, you know, it's somebody else's responsibility to help you. It wasn't Puffy's responsibility to help Black Rob. It was Black Rob's responsibility to help him. So as an artist, if you look at, okay, he might not have known certain things, whether it be business-wise or health-related, as you get older, you do learn these things, or you should start to have some sort of idea. And even if you don't, you can't blame the next person. So it was clear that in Black Rob's final days, he was broke. He even said in a video he just put out just a couple of days ago, he said he didn't even have anywhere to live. So this is what I mean, where he has no money, he's homeless, he can't afford his doctor bills and all that, he can't afford the medical care. The first thing people are going to say is, well, where's Puffy? Where's this person? Where's that person? Yes, in the real world, this person, if they have money and resources, they could help out. Maybe they should help out, but you don't know their relationship. Okay? So we need to be focusing on the things that we need to get our lives in order. We need to focus on our health. We need to focus on our finances. We got to, you know, spend wisely. We need to invest. All of these things are relative to your health and your long-term success. Because if you don't have medical insurance, you never know down the line when you're going to need it. If you don't have your finances in order, you're going to blow your money and end up broke like a lot of these artists. If you don't have, you know, medical insurance, if you don't have, what do you call it? If you don't have, damn, I can't think of the word. I can't think of the word. But these artists, and this be clear, this is not just about artists, this is about you, this is about me, this is about every single person. Your finances should be in order. You should be investing so that you have more money down the line. You have money for retirement. You have money for health bills. You have money to be able to take care of yourself. You have money so that when you're 50 and 60 or when you retire, you don't have to be homeless. We need health insurance. We need all of these things. All of these things matter. This is why if you're young, and when I say when you're young, I'm saying I don't care if you're 20, if you're 40, if you're 50, whatever age you are, it's never too late to start. As long as you're living, you should be trying to put things in order so that you don't fall into these situations. Our mental health is important. Our physical health is important. All of these things ties in. All of these things. If you look at Black Rob, if you look at DMX, their physical health was not up to par. Their mental health clearly wasn't up to par because clearly they was dealing with different demons. You know, both of them had been in and out of jail their whole careers. During the height of their careers, they're going in and out of jail. That means there's something wrong inside. There's things up here that's not being checked. There's things up here that's not being taken care of and acknowledged and dealt with. So if your mental's not right, you're not living right, you're not thinking right, you're not reacting to situations right. You can't handle your finances right. So you're going to make bad decisions. You're probably going to be doing drugs to deal with coping. You're going to end up broke. You're going to end up with the things you shouldn't have. You're going to have that money and not start a business and make sure you can do things to keep the money flowing. You're going to just be spending money trying to live a lifestyle that's really not for you. All of these things are relevant. All of these things matter to you and me. We have to get our lives in order. We have to get our health in order. This is, you know, why I talk about the things I talk about. I talk about mental health. I talk about, you know, different products, whether it's sea moss, black seed oil, well, whatever it is. This is why these things are important. We need to be making sure our inner health is properly. So it's just like, okay, we work out. We make sure the outer appearance is good. But the inside, are you eating the right things? Are you drinking the right things? Are you taking the right supplements? But even beyond that, are you doing checkups with your doctor regularly to make sure your organs are functioning properly, your blood work is on point? We skip all of these things. We choose one thing and we don't check all of those boxes off. We have to really start thinking about that. And if you're the type of person that you want to mourn, you mourn when these artists pass and you say, oh, this and that, oh, it's a shame, I'm going to go listen to his music, oh, his health was failing. But you're probably in a similar situation where you're not properly taking care of yourself. And what happens is if you're not taking care of yourself, then you're not making sure the people around you, your family, your kids, your spouse, you're not making sure they're properly taken care of. All of this stuff should be passed down, and it's not. We're most of the time passing down so much negative shit. We're not taking the time to pass down all the positive things. Make sure your mental health, if you got to go to a therapist, you should be encouraging those things. We should be encouraging proper eating, proper supplementation, proper fitness, making sure your body's on point, your breathing is good, your lungs is good, you're looking good, you're feeling good. All of those things matter. Making sure your finances is on point. We know with the pandemic, you can't just rely on a job and being an employee. You have to have other sources of income. All of those things matter. All of it matters. It all connects. Again, We're seeing these artists pass, and this is the thing that's starting the conversation, but it's way deeper than that. Because at the end of the day, they're regular people, they're real people. And again, we're real people, our friends and family are real people. We're seeing these same things happening in our community time after time after time. We only seem to want to take note when it's a celebrity, but we ignore ourselves, we ignore our friends, we ignore our family. We have to start making better changes. We have to start using these people as an example and doing better and not just talking about it. Because what's going to happen is Black Rob the other day just made a video about DMX passing, and he was in a dire situation. Now, a few days later, he's gone. Now, the same thing is going to repeat. There's going to be people, again, that are fans. They're going to say, oh, that's such a shame. But you're not going to be doing anything to make sure you're good. And you may be the one that's in the hospital next. I hope all of this isn't going over your heads, man. We just got to all start doing better. We have to start caring about ourselves and about each other. We have to start forcing these different conversations and making these things matter. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Let's talk about it. Salute.